What's up guys, thank you for clicking on the video, and today I am talking about Josh Cooley's Toy Story 4. This is the next film in line for my 80 favorite films re-ranking, and if you haven't seen that video, I'll put the link in the description. You can go check it out right now, or you can wait till the end of the video and check it out later. The Toy Story trilogy was one of the most near-perfect franchises in history. Like so many from my generation, I grew up on Toy Story. I remember watching the first film on VHS, and I am trying to keep myself from having a quarter-life crisis thinking about the good old VHS days. I just have so many fond memories with these characters from every one of the previous films, so like many of you, when I heard that they were doing Toy Story 4, I was skeptical. I know we don't necessarily need any film, but did we really need another installment? The third film is such a perfect conclusion to the story, and the last thing any of us would want is a bad fourth film ruining the streak. I gotta say though, I remember changing my tune a bit by the time I saw the official trailer. Something about the nostalgia of seeing young Andy and all the characters just charmed me. But even then, I wasn't completely convinced. I trust Pixar, but the fourth film in a franchise isn't always the best. I mean, sure, you got some great ones: Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Goblet of Fire, Endgame, Ghost Protocol, John Wick Chapter 4, Love and Thunder. Yes, I like Thor Love and Thunder, get over it. But then again, there are a lot of disappointments too. I mean, On Stranger Tides, Jurassic World, Alien Resurrection, Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter, Saw 4, Paranormal Activity 4, Insidious The Last Key, Age of Extinction, Kung Fu Panda 4.
Oh shit, not good.
I went to go see Toy Story 4 with one of my best friends while he was back home from deployment, and it's almost a tradition for us to go to the theater when he's on leave. And not only was it great to see this with my homie, but it was great to see that this movie wasn't just good, it was, I don't know, super good, I guess. Yeah, I love this movie when I saw it, and like how I felt with Insidious and Girls Trip, rewatching this one all these years later has got me falling in love with it all over again. In a way, the third Toy Story was less of a conclusion for the toys and more of a conclusion for Andy. He gives all his toys to Bonnie as we say a goodbye that's almost as tearful as Tony Stark's funeral. So with this fourth film, we pick up with Woody struggling to fit into this new stage of his life. Not in terms of being Bonnie's toy, because he seems to be taking that part as well as you'd expect him to.
I remember with Andy, I would go to school with him.
I'm sorry, Woody. I hate to sound like a broken record, but Bonnie's not Andy.
No, of course, I get that. But if you would... Damn!
In this story, Woody is going through what most of us may be going through right now, searching for a purpose. When Bonnie must go to her first day at kindergarten, Woody insists on going with her to help. When she's struggling to find comfort in class, guess who's right there to help her literally make a new friend? That new friend being a spork. A spork named Forky? Yeah, don't think about it too hard. When Bonnie loses Forky, Woody commits himself to finding Forky and returning him to Bonnie. Woody spends the film trying to fill this void that was left at the end of 3. This is something that I related to all too well. During the film's flashback prologue, we see Bo Peep part ways with the gang as she's being donated to a new kid. Woody for a moment considers going with her, but after hearing Andy search for him, he decides to stay. This moment is so relatable to me that it nearly pains me. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm finna spoil the final scene, so you've been warned. Just skip to this point in the video to see the grade and its placement in the ranking. At the end of the story, Woody is once again faced with the decision, except this time it's in reverse. Either stay with Bo Peep at the park or go back with Buzz, Jesse, and the gang to Bonnie's. Woody nearly chooses the latter, visibly not happy with the decision. However, when Buzz reassures him that Bonnie will be okay without him, Woody says goodbye to the gang and gleefully runs back to Bo Peep to live a new stage of his life. I feel so joyful for Woody, watching him finally put himself first, kind of like Steve Rogers choosing to stay in the past with Peggy Carter and live his life on his own terms. I'm now realizing that I've spent the bulk of this review talking about one aspect of the film, so I suppose I gotta tell you about the other stuff. This is Pixar again, so obviously the animation is spectacular. I remember the initial theater experience being blown away by the prologue. I mean, the lighting, the texture on the toys, the raindrops pitter-pattering on the surfaces. Every time we revisit this world, it looks and feels better and better than the last time. All the other characters are as charming and lovable as they've ever been. Buzz and Woody's chemistry after all these years is still off the charts. Even when Buzz doesn't fully understand Woody, he's still right there to support him through whatever may come. Buzz is also hilarious as ever. There's an early scene where Woody is opening up to Buzz about what he's been feeling and when referring to the little voice inside him, his conscience, Buzz takes it a bit too literally.
That little voice inside me would never leave me alone if I gave up. Huh. Who do you think it is? Who? The voice inside of you. Who do you think it is? Me? My conscience?
This leads to a great running gag, and it adds to his already deep catalog of effective humor. They always find something new to do with his character, and it hits home just how uninspired his standalone film was. Side note, how do y'all feel about Lightyear? Because I have a friend that thinks that movie is amazing, and I don't get it, man. I've seen that movie like 3 times now, and my opinion has never changed. I think it's just bland, and anyway, how do y'all feel about Lightyear? I'm curious. They alluded to Bo Peep's absence in the third film, so it was great to see her here in such a bigger role this time around. She was never really the most interesting person, so I was happy to see that she had a personality now. Being forced to survive as a lost toy has made her tougher and more assertive, and it works. She has a lot of chemistry with Woody, and when they eventually have a falling out, you understand how things escalated to that point. You definitely feel where she's coming from after Woody has kind of been putting her and her friends in danger as he's trying to go on this mission of his. This is a character flaw of Woody's. He tends to put the situations of like all the other toys in jeopardy to accomplish his goals, and this is something I would actually like to see explored in the 5th film that they clearly are already doing. So the rest of the OGs aren't in the story as much as the previous ones, which does sadden me a bit. They still get some good screen time and plenty of good laughs. As far as the new guys go, Forky is a great addition to the squad. Even though his obsession with trash got some early chuckles, I did find him a bit childish near the beginning. As the film went on though, he charmed me. He's quirky and random just like his design, so it works. Gabby presents herself as an antagonist at first, but as the film reaches its close, her character evolves. While she's not as compelling as Stinky Pete or Lotso, I felt her motivation and was happy to see the way that they concluded her story. Ducky and Bunny, played respectively by Key and Peele, simply add even more hilarity to the film. While not having the biggest impact on the story, they had a huge impact on my breath, as I was struggling to catch it every time that they were on screen.
How are we supposed to do that?
Okay, you know what? Leave that to us.
We know exactly what to do.
Where did you two come from?
Well, we're not doing that.
Also, does anyone else notice how pretty their eyes are? Like, damn.
Bing, bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
But of course, the biggest standout of the newcomers is the glorious, the legendary, the one and only, the John Wick. Yeah, it's Duke Caboom, played by Keanu Reeves. This guy had me in stitches. I mean, every pose, every stunt, every catchphrase just tickled me. He brings the bulk of the film's excitement and fits in perfectly with the vibe of this cast. I saw an interview with the director talking about pitching the character to Reeves. It was both funny and fascinating. He doesn't approach the role as just some silly little kid's character. He gives it his all, just like everyone working on this film. But even with all of that, the film wouldn't even work without the legendary pairing of Buzz and Woody. Tim Allen and Tom Hanks have been playing these two characters pitch perfect for 4 films in a row. Each scene, whether comedic or contemplative, silly or serious, keeps you engaged from the open to the close. After Woody's crucial decision, the pair go their separate ways, and it may not be permanent, but they end this chapter with the iconic lines that have never felt more impactful. As they embark on these new roads, even though the future is unknown, our lifetime friends Woody and Buzz will face their journeys with spirit and hope. To infinity and beyond, indeed. Also, the music is great. I mean, Randy Newman killed it again. Not only is the score sounding just as nostalgic as ever, but this freaking song.
I can't let you
Yeah, just about everything in this movie is as great as I remember it being. I love it just as much now, if not even more. And Toy Story 4 is getting an A+. It may end up being my least favorite in the franchise, but it's still one of my favorites of all time. And I'm going to go ahead and put it at the top of the list, dethroning Insidious. If you haven't seen Toy Story 4, get a move on, man. You're missing out, like, seriously. And thank you for checking out the video. Show me some love if you enjoyed it. And stop by for the next review where I'm going to be covering Kingsman: The Secret Service. Until then, Happy New Year and take it easy.